Have you ever noticed that there are years when the more you try, the more things seem to go wrong? You wake up early, work harder, speak more carefully, yet misunderstandings still appear. Money feels harder to keep. Relationships feel more sensitive. Even small decisions seem to carry heavier consequences. Many people quietly ask themselves whether they have lost their luck or whether fate has turned its back on them. The elders used to say that some years are not meant to be pushed. They are meant to be understood. When trouble comes without knocking, it is often not because we are weak or careless, but because we are moving against the rhythm of the year. In such times, effort alone is not enough. Wisdom becomes more important than strength. The year 2026 is one of those years. Known as the year of the firehorse, it carries fast, exposed, and unforgiving energy. Fire reveals what is hidden, and the horse moves without waiting. Together, they create a year where actions echo quickly and mistakes surface sooner than expected. What once took months to show consequences may now take days or even hours. This does not mean 2026 is a bad year. Firehorse years are powerful. They reward clarity, honesty, and restraint. But they are also known for testing people who rush, speak carelessly, or act from emotion rather than awareness. Many of the problems people face in such years do not come from what they do, but from what they should never have done in the first place. Middle-aged and elderly people often feel this more strongly. At this stage of life, responsibilities are heavier, and recovery takes longer. A single wrong decision can disturb not only finances, but health and peace of mind. A careless word can damage relationships built over decades. This is why the elders always warned that in certain years, avoiding mistakes is more important than chasing opportunities. The firehorse year does not tolerate recklessness. It exposes impatience, exaggerates emotional reactions, and magnifies small errors. People who try to test their luck, hoping to gain quickly, often lose more than expected. Those who speak without thinking may find themselves surrounded by unnecessary conflict, and those who ignore their limits may pay with exhaustion or illness. These warnings are not meant to frighten. They are meant to protect. The elders never spoke in absolute rules, but in lived experience. They observed patterns across many firehorse years and noticed that people who suffered most were not the unlucky ones, but the impatient ones. They were not punished by fate, but by speed, pride, or emotional impulse. This message is not about superstition or fear. It is about awareness. In 2026, there are things that seem harmless, but carry hidden cost. There are actions that feel natural, but quietly drain fortune. Knowing what to avoid is like knowing where the road is narrow. It does not stop you from walking forward. It simply helps you walk safely. In the parts that follow, we will speak calmly and clearly about the things you should never do in the year of the firehorse. Not to restrict your life, but to preserve it. Not to stop progress, but to prevent unnecessary loss. Sometimes, the greatest wisdom is not in doing more, but in knowing when not to act. To understand why the year of the firehorse reacts so strongly to certain actions, we must first understand how this energy behaves. Fire, by its nature, reveals and accelerates. It brings things into the open, burns away what is hidden, and shortens the distance between cause and effect. The horse, on the other hand, represents movement, independence, and impatience with delay. When these two forces meet, time itself seems to speed up. In most years, mistakes take time to show their consequences. A careless word may be forgotten. A risky decision may not immediately fail. But in 2026, the firehorse does not wait. It responds quickly and often without warning. What you do today may return tomorrow, sometimes multiplied. This is why people feel that the year is unforgiving, when in truth, it is simply honest. Firehorse energy does not punish people randomly. It exposes imbalance. When actions are driven by greed, anger, or pride, the firehorse magnifies them. When actions are guided by patience, clarity, and restraint, The same energy can become supportive and protective. The year itself is neutral. It is the way we move within it that determines the outcome. This is also why small mistakes feel larger in 2026. A single emotional outburst can create long-lasting tension. A rushed agreement can lead to extended financial trouble. A careless promise can damage trust that took years to build. The firehorse year compresses time. It teaches quickly, but it teaches harshly when lessons are ignored. Many elders used to say that 2026 is not a year to experiment with life. It is not a year to test boundaries or gamble on uncertain outcomes. Firehorse energy dislikes hesitation followed by impulsive action. It favors calm awareness and deliberate movement. Those who act without grounding often feel as if the ground disappears beneath them. Another important aspect of this year is visibility. Fire brings things into the light. Secrets surface. Intentions become obvious. People who rely on manipulation or hidden agendas may find themselves exposed. Words spoken casually may be repeated and misunderstood. In such a year, discretion becomes protection. For middle-aged and elderly people, this exposure can feel uncomfortable. There is often more to lose, more to protect. Reputation, relationships, health, and financial stability have been built over long periods. The firehorse year does not destroy these things on its own, but it tests how carefully they are handled. This is why warnings matter more than promises in 2026. The year offers opportunity, but only to those who know what not to do. Avoiding certain actions is not weakness. It is wisdom shaped by experience. The elders believed that surviving a firehorse year safely was already a form of success. Understanding this nature prepares us for the warnings ahead. When we know that the year responds quickly, we become more mindful. When we know that small actions carry greater weight, we slow down. This awareness does not limit life. It protects it. In the following part, we will look inward and speak about the first and most dangerous mistakes people make in 2026, those that begin in the mind and heart. Because in a firehorse year, fire always starts from within, before it spreads outward. In the year of the firehorse, the most dangerous mistakes do not begin with actions, money, or words. They begin quietly, in the heart. Firehorse energy reacts fastest to inner states, especially uncontrolled emotion. What you feel becomes what you do, and what you do returns quickly. This is why the elders always warned that in such a year, mastering the mind is more important than mastering circumstances. One thing you should never do in 2026 is allow anger to lead your decisions. Anger in a firehorse year spreads like dry grass catching flame. A moment of irritation can turn into a lasting conflict. A sharp tone can become a broken relationship. Many people believe that expressing anger clears the heart, but in this year, it often leaves ashes behind. The elders taught that silence at the right moment preserves more fortune than victory in an argument. Another serious mistake is making decisions while emotionally exhausted. In 2026, fatigue clouds judgment more quickly than usual. When the body is tired, the mind becomes impatient. People sign papers, agree to requests, or say things they later regret simply because they want discomfort to end. The firehorse year punishes this kind of emotional shortcut. What feels like relief in the moment often becomes a long-term burden. You should also avoid speaking when emotions are high. Words spoken in the heat of feeling carry extra weight in 2026. They are remembered, repeated, and often misunderstood. A casual complaint can turn into gossip. A small exaggeration can be seen as dishonesty. Firehorse energy does not soften language. It sharpens it. The elders always said that in such years, words travel faster than truth. Another inner mistake is believing that urgency equals importance. The firehorse year creates constant pressure to act quickly. Everything feels urgent. Messages demand immediate replies. Situations feel as if they cannot wait. Acting under this pressure without reflection is a common cause of regret. Not every problem requires an immediate solution. In fact, in 2026, the problems that are given time often resolve themselves. while those rushed into action grow more complicated. Excessive worry is another silent error. Worry feeds the firehorse in a different way. It drains energy before action even begins. People who constantly imagine worst-case scenarios exhaust themselves emotionally, leaving little strength to handle real challenges. The elders warned that worrying ahead of time invites trouble rather than prevents it. In this year, worry attracts more situations that require attention. There is also a subtle mistake many people make, refusing to rest because they fear falling behind. The firehorse year glorifies movement, but it also punishes those who ignore their limits. Skipping rest, ignoring the body's signals, or pushing through illness may seem responsible, but it weakens resilience. Once energy is depleted, recovery takes longer in 2026. Health issues that could have been minor may become persistent. Pride is another inner fire that should never be fed. Feeling the need to prove oneself, to win arguments, or to always be right invites unnecessary challenges. Firehorse energy exposes pride quickly. People who cling to it often find themselves isolated or entangled in conflicts they did not anticipate. The elders taught that humility in strong years is not submission, but protection. Finally, one of the greatest mistakes of the firehorse year is ignoring intuition. When the heart feels uneasy, when something feels slightly off, that feeling should not be dismissed. Intuition speaks softly, but in 2026 it speaks accurately. Ignoring it leads people into situations they later wish they had avoided. All these mistakes share a common root: emotional excess. In the year of the firehorse, emotion moves faster than reason. This is why controlling the inner world becomes the first and most important warning. When the heart is steady, the fire warms. When the heart is unstable, the fire burns. In the next part, we will turn outward and speak about actions related to money and work areas where the firehorse tests people just as quickly, but often with higher cost. When it comes to money and work, the year of the firehorse is especially unforgiving. This is the area where many people suffer their greatest losses, not because they are careless, but because they are tempted by speed. Firehorse energy moves fast and makes opportunities appear urgent. It whispers that if you hesitate, you will miss your chance. This is why one of the most important warnings for 2026 is never to chase fast money. In this year, anything that promises quick profit carries hidden danger. Investments that sound too good, business offers that demand immediate commitment, or financial decisions made under pressure should be treated with extreme caution. The elders used to say that firehorse years reward steady hands, not greedy ones. Those who rush often discover that what they gained quickly leaves just as fast, sometimes taking more with it. Another mistake to avoid is signing documents or agreements without careful review. In 2026, small details carry great weight. A clause overlooked, a promise misunderstood, or a verbal agreement made without clarity can turn into long-term trouble. Firehorse energy accelerates consequences. What might have been a minor issue in another year can become a major burden here. Taking extra time to read, ask questions, and reflect is not delay. It is protection. Many people also make the mistake of changing jobs or business directions impulsively in this year. Dissatisfaction may arise suddenly, making current work feel unbearable. The firehorse amplifies this restlessness. Acting on it without a clear plan often leads to instability. The elders advise that in firehorse years, it is safer to strengthen what you already have rather than abandon it in pursuit of something uncertain. Stability itself becomes a form of wealth. Another dangerous habit is lending money or guaranteeing debts without clear boundaries. Compassion is admirable, but in 2026, it must be balanced with caution. Firehorse energy can blur judgment, making people feel pressured to help quickly. When boundaries are unclear, generosity turns into regret. The elders often said that money given without clarity rarely returns, and in this year, it may also damage relationships. Workplace conflicts are another area to watch carefully. Firehorse energy sharpens competition and exposes tension. Speaking impulsively, taking sides too quickly, or reacting emotionally to criticism can escalate issues that might otherwise pass. In 2026, it is wiser to observe before responding. Silence, when chosen deliberately, often prevents long-term damage. Speculation is another danger. Some people feel drawn to gambling, high-risk trading, or untested ventures during firehorse years. The thrill of risk matches the year's energy, but the outcome is rarely favorable. The elders were clear. Firehorse years do not support luck-based financial behavior. They favor effort, planning, and restraint. It is also important not to measure success by speed. Seeing others appear to advance quickly can trigger comparison and impatience. This leads people to make choices that do not suit their circumstances. The firehorse year tests discipline. Those who resist comparison protect their resources and peace of mind. Ultimately, the greatest financial warning for 2026 is this: do not let urgency replace wisdom. Money gained slowly is far safer than money chased quickly. Work done carefully lasts longer than work done in haste. In a firehorse year, holding on is often wiser than reaching out. In the next part, we will speak about another area where firehorse energy causes trouble just as quickly: relationships and words. Because in this year, what is spoken can burn just as deeply as what is done. In the year of the firehorse, words travel faster than intentions. Relationships, whether within family, friendships, or the wider community, become especially sensitive. Many problems that arise in 2026 do not come from actions, but from speech. The elders often warned that in strong fire years, the mouth becomes a torch. What is spoken carelessly can ignite conflicts that are difficult to extinguish. One thing you should never do in 2026 is speak about others behind their backs. Gossip, even when meant casually, carries heavy consequences in a firehorse year. Words are repeated, twisted, and returned with added fire. A simple comment can grow into a rumor, and a rumor can damage trust that took years to build. The elders taught that silence is not weakness. In years like this, it is protection. Another mistake is inserting yourself into conflicts that are not yours. The firehorse year magnifies drama. When you step into someone else's disagreement, you often absorb their fire. Many people believe they are helping by offering opinions or taking sides. But in 2026, this often leads to misunderstanding and resentment. The wiser path is to step back, listen quietly, and allow others to resolve their own matters whenever possible. Arguments that begin small can escalate quickly in this year. A minor disagreement, if fueled by pride or emotion, may turn into a lasting rift. This is especially true in family relationships, where history and emotion are already present. The firehorse energy does not forget easily. Words spoken in anger are remembered long after apologies are offered. This is why the elders always advised choosing peace over being right. Another warning concerns promises. In 2026, you should never promise what you are not absolutely certain you can fulfill. Firehorse energy exposes broken promises quickly. What is delayed may be seen as deception, even if your intention was honest. This creates unnecessary strain on relationships and reputation. It is better to say less and deliver more than to offer reassurance that cannot be guaranteed. There is also danger in over-explaining. When people feel misunderstood, they often talk more, hoping clarity will solve everything. In a firehorse year, this can have the opposite effect. Too many words invite misinterpretation. The elders often said that one clear sentence, spoken calmly, is worth more than many explanations spoken in haste. Social gatherings and public settings also require care. Jokes that once felt harmless may offend. Sarcasm may be taken literally. Firehorse energy sharpens sensitivity. Reading the room and adjusting tone becomes important, especially for middle-aged and elderly people who carry authority in family and community spaces. A calm presence sets the tone more effectively than loud expression. Another subtle mistake is reacting immediately to messages or news. In 2026, information spreads quickly, but not always accurately. Responding without verification can pull you into unnecessary conflict. The elders advised waiting, even briefly, before responding. Time cools fire. Ultimately, the greatest relationship warning for the firehorse year is this: do not let emotion lead your speech. Words spoken with restraint to protect harmony. Words spoken with haste invite trouble. In 2026, peace is preserved not by winning arguments, but by avoiding them. In the next part, we will shift from warnings to guidance, speaking about how to move through the firehorse year safely and wisely by focusing on what to do instead of what to avoid. After hearing so many warnings, some people may begin to feel uneasy, as if the year of the firehorse is filled only with danger. The elders always corrected this misunderstanding. They said that every warning carries a path forward. The purpose of knowing what not to do is not fear, but clarity. When the wrong paths are seen clearly, the right one becomes easier to walk. In 2026, the safest way to move is to slow down without stopping. Firehorse energy respects calm awareness more than speed. This means taking a moment before reacting, thinking before speaking, and resting before exhaustion appears. These small pauses create space where mistakes cannot easily take root. Many people discover that when they slow their pace slightly, problems lose their urgency and solutions appear naturally. One of the most important things to do in this year is to observe more than you act. Observation is not passivity, it is intelligence. Watching how situations unfold before stepping in allows you to avoid unnecessary involvement. The firehorse year exposes those who rush into matters that do not concern them. Those who wait and watch often pass through untouched. Protecting health becomes another key priority. In a fast-moving year, the body is often the first to suffer. Ignoring fatigue, skipping meals, or neglecting rest weakens resilience. The elders advise that in firehorse years, maintaining health is already a form of success. Simple routines, regular rest, and gentle movement preserve energy better than ambitious schedules. In work and daily responsibilities, the safer approach is to do less, but do it well. Completing tasks carefully rather than quickly prevents mistakes that require correction later. Firehorse energy magnifies errors made through carelessness. Precision and patience act as shields. Those who focus on quality over quantity often feel less stress and gain steadier results. Another important practice is choosing simplicity. This applies not only to actions, but also to lifestyle. Reducing unnecessary commitments, avoiding crowded schedules, and keeping daily life uncomplicated lowers exposure to conflict and fatigue. In 2026, simplicity is not boring, it is protective. The elders also emphasize the importance of choosing silence wisely. This does not mean withdrawing from life, but speaking only when words add value. Silence cools the fire of unnecessary emotion. It allows time to pass, misunderstandings to fade, and clarity to return. Many conflicts dissolve on their own when not fed by constant reaction. Gratitude is another quiet but powerful practice. Firehorse energy tends to pull attention toward what is urgent or lacking. Gratitude redirects the heart toward what is stable and sufficient. This shift in focus reduces anxiety and impatience. When the heart feels content, reckless actions lose their appeal. It is also wise to keep life grounded in routine. Familiar habits create stability when external energy is unpredictable. Eating at regular times, maintaining familiar rituals, and staying connected to trusted people provide emotional anchors. These anchors prevent the firehorse energy from sweeping you away. Finally, trust that restraint is not loss. Many people fear that by avoiding risk or slowing down, they will miss opportunities. The elders taught the opposite. In firehorse years, what is truly meant for you does not require chasing. It arrives when the path is clear and the mind is calm. By choosing observation over reaction, patience over haste, and simplicity over excess, you move through 2026 with far less friction. These practices do not make life smaller. They make it safer. In the final part, we will close with a story and a blessing, reminding ourselves that the firehorse tests those who rush, but quietly protects those who walk with awareness. As we come to the end of this sharing, the elders always like to remind people of one quiet truth. The firehorse year does not come to destroy, but to test. Fire reveals what is hidden, and the horse forces movement. Together, they ask one simple question of every person living through 2026. Will you move with awareness, or will you rush without looking? There is an old story about two travelers crossing a land during a year of great heat. One rushed forward, eager to arrive quickly, ignoring signs of exhaustion and danger. He argued with those who warned him, believing speed was strength. The other walked slowly, resting often, choosing shade when the sun was harsh, and remaining silent when tempers flared. When the journey ended, the first traveler arrived early but wounded and burdened with loss. The second arrived later, but whole and peaceful. The elders said the difference was not fate, but restraint. The year of the firehorse carries this same lesson. It tests impatience, pride, and emotional excess. Those who insist on pushing, proving, and reacting often feel as though the year works against them. In reality, they are feeding the fire that burns their own path. Those who step back, observe, and choose their actions carefully often feel protected, even when challenges arise. Avoiding certain actions in 2026 is not about living in fear. It is about choosing wisdom over impulse. When you do not speak in anger, you protect relationships. When you do not chase fast money, you protect stability. When you do not involve yourself in unnecessary conflict, you protect peace. Each avoided mistake is not a loss, but a quiet gain. For middle-aged and elderly people especially, this year asks for gentleness toward oneself. There is no need to prove worth, no need to compete with time. Health, peace of mind, and steady relationships are treasures that the firehorse respects when they are handled with care. Preserving what you have is already a form of fortune. The elders often said that passing safely through a difficult year is itself a blessing. Not every year is meant for expansion. Some years are meant for protection, reflection, and preservation. The firehorse year rewards those who understand this rhythm. As 2026 unfolds, remember that restraint is not weakness, silence is not loss, slowness is not failure. They are tools that allow you to move through the year without being burned by its intensity. When you avoid what should not be done, the path that remains becomes clear and steady. May this year bring you awareness instead of regret, calm instead of conflict, and protection instead of loss. May the firehorse test you gently and guard you quietly. And may you remember that sometimes not making a mistake is the greatest success of all.